Hi. Hello. Is this working? Can folks hear me? I've never done this before. Hi, I'm Laura. 8 people watching. That's amazing. I'm so honored. This is really wild. Hello from Germany. Happy Ramadan to everyone. All right, cool. I'm sorry about the glare. Maybe that's not so bothering. Not so bad. Um, all right. Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I guess we can get going. Uh, Here's a cat. Um, okay. Go away. Okay. I'm going to start and just go for it. Um, it's probably pretty clear. I have never done a Facebook Live before. This is something that's totally new to me. So there's a little bit of panic starting out because I didn't really know how to start it. But here we all are. So thank you so much for joining me. It's morning where I am, but wherever you are, I hope that all is well. Um, so just to tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Laura Neale. I live in Maine in the United States. It's a state in the far northeast corner, kind of up by Canada, and we have lots of mountains and forests and also border on the Atlantic Ocean. So it's springtime here. It's really beautiful out. It's a bright and sunny day. The leaves are coming out, and it's just a really beautiful, nice time of year here. It's warm, but not too hot. And a little bit about myself, who I am. I'm an organic vegetable farmer. I have owned a farm for 12 years. I grow over 30 different crops that change throughout the season. Our season started about in March, early March, and goes till about late November. So we're certified organic, and this season, due to coronavirus, we've switched around the way our products are being sold. We've adapted an online ordering opportunity for customers that is actually in collaboration with other local producers. So people have the opportunity to order our vegetables along with the products from other farms that are close by in our area that include cheese and yogurt, mushrooms, meat, blueberries, things like that. And so because our farmers markets are delayed right now, and we're not sure if and when they're going to start, restaurants are closed, all that sort of thing. So we're working together with other farms to allow for an online ordering opportunity of all different products to come together. People pay once online, and then we offer a curbside pickup here at the farm once a week. So that's what's going on with me here. And today I'm speaking about the opportunity that I had to work with the High Atlas Foundation in Morocco in early February. Um, I was a farmer to farmer volunteer, and it was only a couple months ago, but it seems like a really long time ago. I feel like the world has really changed a lot, and yeah, I'm excited to tell you about my experience please chime in with questions or thoughts or anything. That would be really wonderful to hear from folks that are listening and watching. It would just be great to hear what it is that you're interested in hearing about, as I just kind of share my story. So if anybody has a question, just write it and I'll do my best to answer it. So cool. So I was a farmer to farmer volunteer, and what that is, the USAID, which is the U.S. Agency on International Development, in 1985 started this opportunity for farmers to share technical skills in developing countries, and to work with other farmers that were already doing similar projects, just to lend support and share information and ideas. So I learned about this opportunity from another farmer friend who had worked with a bunch of different organizations, and just let me know how wonderful it is that Farmer to Farmer exists. I feel like not a lot of people, I feel like I know a lot of farmers, and I've only known one other person that's done it, and I feel like it's this hidden gem that really needs to be publicized more in America, I think. So I heard about it from a friend. I really like to travel in the off season. We have winter here, which is pretty harsh, and it's such a good opportunity to leave, basically. I've owned my own business and I live on my farm, and so for 12 years I've had a very narrow focus, which is wonderful, but it is really helpful to me to be able to get out and to explore new places, to learn from other people, and especially with the farmer to farmer opportunity, it just felt like a great way to contribute in a place that is unknown to me. And so it just seemed like a really wonderful opportunity, a really unique opportunity to go somewhere not as a tourist, but to share ideas. And there's nothing, as a farmer, there's nothing more fun than talking to other farmers about what it is that they're up to. So it really excited me to take advantage of this opportunity. When I was looking into it, the High Atlas Foundation really resonated to me as an organization that I was specifically interested in, just because of the program that they were doing in organic agriculture, in women's empowerment, education, and clean water. All of those elements together just seemed like really interesting work, and really complementary work. And I also was really drawn to it because the High Atlas Foundation is specifically in Morocco, and works specifically with Moroccan people. It's some other aid organizations are kind of in a bunch of different countries doing lots of different things, and it really appealed to me that the High Atlas Foundation was concentrated in Morocco. Also, researching kind of before my assignment, and what made me apply there was certainly the participatory approach that the High Atlas Foundation utilizes when communicating and making pursuing projects in communities. I found it really impressive that they focus on including community members in hearing from them, having everyone's voice being a contributing element to the projects, and so that meant a lot to me, and that's why I reached out and applied specifically to High Atlas Foundation for my volunteer opportunity. So yeah, and it all worked out, and I went in early February. So the whole objective of the Farmer to Farmer program is to share technical skills, and also I will read a little bit from their website about the objectives of the program, and that is to increase agricultural sector productivity and profitability, improve conservation and sustainable use of environmental and natural resources, expand agricultural sector access to financial services, and strengthen agricultural sector institutions. So that's kind of like the overall plan for the Farmer to Farmer. But it's really just sharing technical skills. American farmers sharing what they have learned and kind of utilized in their own businesses, on their own farms, and in their own practices with folks that are doing similar projects in different countries. So my project was based in eastern Morocco, and I flew into Oujda. So I flew first to Casablanca and then east to Oujda, and the objective or the information that I got beforehand and the goals of the project was to work with farming cooperatives in the eastern region of Morocco and to help them develop plans for their medicinal plant and tree nurseries. So I was working with, the idea was to work with groups and share information about how they could set up healthy greenhouses to produce more plants. Also, kind of the objective of the project was to assist in efforts in Morocco to move away from corn and barley production, which takes up a lot of space in Morocco, but doesn't generate a lot of revenue for farmers in the rural communities, and to shift gears into cash crops, which would be more fruit and nut trees and medicinal plants. That also, all of the trees and medicinal plants are more adapted to the climate of the region, are more drought tolerant, and in the light of climate change, which Morocco is certainly feeling, the drought is more intense and longer, I believe. So just changing gears into more cash crops, revenue generating products in the agricultural sector is the whole idea. And because that is the goal, it's also necessary to create more healthy fruit trees to get out in communities, which is the whole objective of the Atlas Foundation. So I was working with the farming cooperatives to help them or to assist them and share information on their new plant nurseries that they were going to be setting up. So that was the information I got before my trip to prepare me. And I am an organic vegetable farmer, which is a little bit different than growing fruit trees and medicinal herbs. But at the same time, I have a lot of experience working with greenhouses. I have 3 greenhouses at my farm. And yeah, always available to help project plan. So anyway, my project was in eastern Morocco, and so my team members from the Atlas Foundation were Rashid and Hassan, and we traveled together for, I guess, 10 days, and then ended up in Marrakesh. But so we met in Oujda, spent a couple days in Oujda, and then headed to the first farming cooperative that we were meeting with, which was in Barfa. So there was a lot of road tripping through eastern Morocco. And the first community group that we worked with, it was 3 men, and they had it was not a city, but not a small town, kind of a medium small town, Barfa was, and driving in the area, there's not a lot of vegetation, not a lot of trees, a lot of open space, a lot of animals grazing, but mostly open space, kind of mountainous, very much like the American Southwest, I would say. And so it was pretty open and bare. So Barfa is a small city, large town, and the men there have had their cooperative, I think, since 2018. And they were working together. They've been growing medicinal plants and trees, and also have a landscaping installation business. So they use the trees and plants that they grow and then install them in people's homes or around businesses. And so they've just been doing that on their own. and it's been going really well. They feel like their plants are in high demand. They feel like they're producing a really healthy and strong product. And they just had the opportunity, the government gave them, I think it was 2 hectares of land to create a greenhouse and retail space. So both a workspace for them to increase their plant production and also sell plants to the community. And eventually, hopefully, also be a source for educating the community on growing plants on their own. Um, so it was really interesting. So we went to their site, which was completely just like barren, open space, um, very nothing on it. And so that was where they're going to start their plant nursery. And to me, someone that had, this is my first time in Morocco, I'm not really super familiar with the landscape and the climate there. It definitely seemed a little challenging and daunting. But they were super excited about being given this space. Um, so we continued on after. There wasn't too much to see there. It was just open space. And so we continued on to the place that they had been growing plants already and checked that out. And that was really inspiring. That made a lot of sense. Like they have already been gathering native seeds and making cuttings and already had a productive space. But it made sense now that, you know, what they had been given was so exciting, and it allowed them just so much more opportunity. So we kind of toured and saw more of what they had been doing, and then sat and drank tea and were able to talk about what's been going well, what their challenges are, what they hope to be doing. So I had formulated questions, and Rashid did a really great job. He was the translator always, which I was so appreciative of. It was very hard not being able to communicate with the folks that we were meeting with, but Rashid did a really great job. And yeah, so we probably talked for an hour or so, and just to hear more of what it was that they were pursuing, and to learn more about their challenges. Definitely, they had no experience with actually using a greenhouse, so their technical skills were not at a professional level for that. And also in terms of budgeting and figuring out what resources were available, and the costs and that sort of thing, as well as marketing. We talked a lot about, and just making plans for how to shift gears and really drastically increase their business possibilities, basically. But it was really impressive to hear about how they very much wanted to share their sort of love of plants with their community, and to have it be really also very inclusive, where they could offer, you know, a very simple herb plant to a tree to a rose, that sort of thing, but to get people in a place to be planting on their own. So they were really motivated, they were really excited, and it was wonderful to meet these 3 men and to learn about their project, and yeah, to get to know the area. So from there, does anybody have any questions? I definitely feel like I'm just rambling a little, so yes, if anybody wants to chime in, amazing, but that's okay. I will just keep on. So we continued on from Barfa and arrived in Fagig. And Fagig is by far one of those amazing, unique places I have ever had the opportunity to go to. It is extremely remote, so we drove all day from Oujda through Barfa and then to Fagig. And it is, so it's tons of open space, but when you arrive in Fagig, it's an oasis. And so it was just stunning to arrive there after there was just not a lot of color in the landscape. And to arrive there, and it's just a huge sort of valley of date trees, which was amazing to see. And it's just a very unique and beautiful, stark, remote place. So Fagig, we spent the longest amount of time during my volunteering, but so there we met with a women's cooperative that raises honeybees, and they had been doing it since 2001, and they have had a lot of success with raising bees for honey, although their biggest challenge, I think, happened in 2005 when they lost a ton of their hives to pesticide use in the area. Farmers were using pesticides on their crops, and so tons of their bees died. And so they moved them to other locations that made it really inconvenient and far away and just didn't really make a ton of sense. But they still were able to produce a lot of really high quality honey and kind of push through. And recently they were awarded a piece of land on sort of the outskirts of Figgy, also from the government, to create a space to not only house their bees, but also grow medicinal plants as a kind of complementary business alongside their honeybee production, to also have medicinal plants that would feed their bees and also be a source of revenue for the cooperative. So in Fagig, I should rewind for a second. Fagig is specifically known for the Aziza date, and that is the main crop there. People come for the date harvest, and that's what Fagig is known for. It's also on the border of Algeria, and that border is closed right now. So when the closing of the border has really affected the economy and the community of Fagig, it has definitely been a really big challenge, and I would say a negative impact on having the border closed, that people can no longer go back and forth for their businesses or to see family and all that sort of thing. So that is definitely a struggle for people in Fagig, and a lot of the population has decreased. And so for the communities there that are remaining, I think there is definitely a drive to deal with these challenges in a way that really invests in Fagig. And I certainly got that from the women's farming cooperative that we met with. It was called Tizuza. So anyway, so Fagig is very remote. It's really out there, and I think that it's a very traditional community, very much connected to the agricultural sector. So anyway, so meeting with the women's cooperative, we just learned more about their challenges and what they wanted to be doing, and they were really impressive. They were really organized and were really motivated and excited about the opportunity to both increase their already successful business of honey production, and also add the complementary element of medicinal plants. And so we talked a lot about how to use the space that they had been given, because it was also quite large. We went and visited it, and it was really bare. And there wasn't a lot, to me, it didn't seem like there was a lot to work with there, but over time we learned so much about the possibilities and opportunities there, and by the time we kind of ended our experience in Fagig, I feel like we had generated so much discussion, and in terms of recommendations, there just seemed like there was a lot of potential and a lot of possibilities. So also while we were there, we visited another farm that had been, the space had been exactly like the open space that we had visited. And we went and visited this farm, and it was extremely productive. It was super green. There was fruit trees, there was vegetable crops, there was just so much production going on there. So it really revealed to me that the women did have there was a lot of support in the community. The people that are still living in Figuig are very committed to investing in it, and the projects. It seemed like the project would be able to be seen through, would be able to be achieved. So Figuig was wonderful. Figuig was by far just one of the most interesting places I have ever been, and the women's cooperative that I met with there was just extremely impressive. And when we sort of were finishing up their time there, and I was able to give feedback about recommendations for how to use the space and their nursery and their bee production, they were just amazing. And so I'm really excited for them. I feel like they have so much drive to see this project through. They have a lot of support in the community. They're so committed to their community, having been born and raised there and wanting to stay there, that it's really impressive what they have going on there. So from Figuig, we started to drive. We did return to Barfa to meet with the men again to talk more about their project and give kind of final recommendations for how to best use the new space. And then which was great. I shared a lot of information about nursery layout and design. We talked about the greenhouse production, and I shared some ideas about record keeping for their plantings and versus how many they sell, and just kind of elevating the level of their business. They had definitely just been doing their thing and growing some plants, but we talked a lot about how to just kind of make their business just a lot more professional. So I also think that they are in a really great place to move forward with their project. So we continued on west, and it was really interesting to me because I'd only been in far eastern Morocco and didn't know about the just extremely diverse landscape that exists in Morocco. As we moved west, it was just incredibly green. There were just open fields of wheat and fava beans. There was tons of almond trees and citrus trees, and it was just amazing. I just I'd only seen the Far East, where it's just really, really open and much more barren and kind of sparse. So it was really amazing to continue further west into Fez, where we met at the Center for Protection of Children at a really, really inspiring and amazing High Atlas Foundation nursery site that I believe had been there for 3 years. And so there, the farmer Khalid was producing young fruit trees that would eventually make it out and be distributed by the High Atlas Foundation into communities for farmers to plant. And so there were olive, fig, almond, pomegranate, and carob trees, and I think it was close to like 200,000 cuttings were in the ground and growing and looking great and healthy and doing really well there. So he also had 3 greenhouses in production, not in production, they were being constructed. So they were coming along and would probably be in use by now to just be creating even more trees. So he had a really impressive operation already up and going, and it was really wonderful to be able to see just a sort of like success story of how the High Atlas Foundation is just being so productive and getting more trees out to communities all the time, so they can switch gears out of more subsistence crops into cash crops specifically, and also trees being perennial adapted to the region, more drought tolerant, all these sorts of things. So at this nursery, um, it well, there was just so much production going on, and so there, my suggestions really were about just creating a long-term fertility plan for the health and success of the nurseries and for the production, and also because Khalid, the farmer there, was just so knowledgeable and had such great experience that I really suggested that he should perhaps have a YouTube channel or create a resource for other farmers in the area about growing and propagating trees, um, and just sharing knowledge and sharing technical skills when there is such a need for that. So it was really impressive. I think also just meeting with the organizations or the cooperatives that I met with initially, who were in such early stages of their projects, and had so many questions about greenhouses and how to best use them, and how to, do the best job growing plants in them. It's like Khalid would have been fantastic to share information with them. And so that was my recommendation, was definitely create a network and be able to share information in community groups in Morocco amongst Moroccans. So it was all really interesting. It was wonderful. I am so grateful for the opportunity to be able to go to Morocco and work with the High Atlas Foundation. From after Fez, we carried on to Marrakesh, where I got to meet the people that work in the office there. And everyone was so kind, was so interesting, and doing such great work, and was so welcoming, and curious about our trip to Eastern Morocco. And I'm so grateful for the experience. I feel like for me, as a farmer in the US, it was really wonderful to step out of my own project and just kind of expand my own knowledge and to share ideas with other people. Projects, especially in the beginning, are really exciting, and so I feel like I was there at such a great stage where there was so many ideas, and it was really wonderful to talk about them and help to try to organize next step moving forward for these projects. So it was fantastic. It definitely exceeded my expectations. I feel like farmers in the U.S. Do really need to learn more about this opportunity, which is fantastic. It was also challenging. I mean, the language barrier was certainly a challenge. I wish I was able to communicate better with people and, be able to connect that way. Other challenges, I think we moved a lot, and so I wish that the whole experience was longer, that we could spend more time with the communities and just learn. Every time we met, I would learn something more, and there would be another tidbit about how their project could be supported. And so I think that the length of time could have just been a little bit longer. It would have been great. I'm also really happy about the fact that we did get to move around so much, because I got this really special experience of being able to see so many different places in Morocco, and it's such a diverse and beautiful country. So I think also the moving around was amazing. So I had a fantastic time. I hope that that my volunteering and my connecting with the communities made a positive impact for them. I feel like we talked about a lot of ideas, and I feel like I was able to help them organize and focus on kind of essential next steps. And yeah, I mean, I was just blown away by the hospitality and the kindness, and the hard work and the sense of pride that people have in their communities. And I think there's something that's really relatable, even though, I just said a challenge was the communication. but also as a farmer, it's something that I can really relate to when you're so excited about a project or you feel so good about growing plants and working outside and the rewards and fulfillment that that really brings. And so I feel like that was a really essential connecting point for me as someone that was new to the country and obviously to these communities, that I think that there's a connection and a sense of understanding that occurs that is just special, I think, when farmers get to connect. So I'm so grateful. The High Atlas Foundation has been an amazing organization to get to know and to sort of be connected to, and I'm really honored to have had the experience and to continue to work with them. So it's been fantastic, and especially now when travel is it's kind of off the table, I'm even more grateful than ever for the time that I had in Morocco. And again, just to say, the people that I traveled with, Rashid and Hassan, they were just fantastic. We had so much fun. We just went on a lot of great adventures, and they were just so great to me and so welcoming, and I'm very appreciative of them. So, and all the farming cooperatives that I had the opportunity to meet. So kind and so good. So, yeah, that's what happened. I'm farming today. We're working one of our greenhouses and planting eggplant and peppers and just getting the farm ready for the season. There's a lot going on. So, thank you all. If anyone has any questions, love to hear it. If not, take good care. Be well, stay safe, enjoy. And if anybody wants to check out my farm's website, it's blackkettlefarm.com. It's blackkettlefarm.com, and you can learn more about what I'm up to here in the States. And yeah, I hope to make it back to Morocco. So thank you all. Take care. Be well. Bye.